Hey guys, my last two tech tutorials were kind of stilted because I tried to record the footage and then dub my voice over it afterwards, and I'm just not that used to scripting stuff out and then reading it. So we're gonna go a little less formal this time. The video might take slightly longer, but we'll still cover all the good information, and I'll try to cut it down to 10 minutes or less. So we're going to talk about something called force stance, but first we're going to cover the basics of the mechanics here. So first off, you need a stance weapon. I'm going to use a katana. You can use a straight sword as long as it has a stance. There's all kinds of stance weapons, including Gale's crossbow that you can use. They all work. And for the time being, we'll put in the main hand. And what you want to do something that puts you into a gray screen. So you see how after I do an attack, my inventory grays out and I can't swap a weapon, right? And that's also going to happen if I roll. I think I'll use an item. All kinds of actions do this. We're mostly going to be using rolls. But, you can do it after an attack. And anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do some action that grays out our menu, and then we're going to queue up stance, right? So roll and then tap L2. And basically what that does is it queues up the weapon arm. Because of how stance works, it's actually going to keep that queued up. And if you swap your weapon reasonably fast after the gray screen goes away, it's actually going to use whatever weapon art the weapon you swap to has. Now, this has very limited utility. There's actually not much utility at all, because you can just swap to a different weapon and then use the weapon art out of menu, right? So again, I could just do that anyway. I could literally just swap to the weapon and use the weapon art. So no big deal, right? Okay. However, you can actually do this with offhand weapons, and that's where it starts to get interesting, right? So what you do, you need to two-hand your stance weapon that's in your offhand slot. And you're going to leave your main hand weapon alone. You're not going to touch it. So same principle. Actually, let me turn on the controller reader. Okay. So again, roll and queue up stance. And you're going to swap your offhand weapon to something else. And the utility of this is that I can apply buffs, like the Warcry buff of this hand axe, to my main hand weapon. And then if I remove the hand axe, the buff actually stays active. That's weird. Oh, I had no FP. That's why I didn't stay. Okay. So an important part of this is you don't actually have to exit the menu. You don't have to press the weapon art button after you swap weapons. Changing the weapon alone is enough for this to work. Alright. So that's one way to use this. I wouldn't recommend using with RKSS. It's not really worth it because the Warcry buff actually removes the normal heavy attack of this straight sword. And it does this, but it doesn't have a hitbox. You want to use weapons that are pretty much pure physical damage. Maybe an elemental one would be okay. And you don't want to rely on R2. And basically that means it works well in PKCS. That's the primary use case. Alright. So what else can we do? It can work with basically any weapon. It does weird things sometimes. That one actually has a hitbox with the Ring Knight straight sword. Don't know how good it is, but it works. Okay, you can do a stomp. You quick step, it all works. But we want to look for things with interesting interactions. So I'm going to run out here. And I'm going to toggle invulnerability. And I think I already killed those guys. Alright. And let's change our main weapon to the Lorian's Greatsword. Mine's retextured. And let's actually go with this. Alright. So again, same basic principle. Roll, stance, swap the offhand weapon. We'll do that again. Alright, so basically, if you have a weapon with a spin attack, like the Ring Knight, paired great swords, or a curved sword, it has kind of a spin weapon art. If you apply that to a big weapon like this Ultra, then it will do the same weapon art, but with a bigger hitbox and a lot more damage. Okay, so here's another quick demonstration of the same weapon art interaction using Gale's crossbow this time and Ring Knight straight sword. There are tons of different interactions. I can't detail all of the specific ones, but if you become really interested in offhand stance swaps and dig around, you will find the resources. There you go. Alright, video is getting kind of long at this point, and this is really just meant to cover the basic principles of the swap, not every possible interaction. If someone watching this video has a favorite offhand stance swap and would like to share it, please do in the comments below. If you have any questions, also comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you around.